All right, everybody.
Show,
If you
man.
are joining us, you are watching us record our show. It's right now about 8 p.m. on April 15th, 2020, and each of us are coming from our homes. And so if we hear the quality go down a little bit, that may be why too. So we're hoping, just if you're talking and if you don't have a headset, get close to your iPad or your phone, a little closer. So we're just working through.
Closer.
Yeah, that's good.
Closer, Clarice.
All right, and then so there's a bunch of stuff we can talk to and talk about, and we'll get to it. I don't want to give it away up front. So everybody
So
ready?
many beautiful things.
Everybody ready? We're going to be taking a break halfway through and then moving forward from there. Everybody set? I see yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, here we go.
Yes.
We are recording, and let us rock and roll. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you again. But again, coming from our homes as we continue to weave through the COVID-19 pandemic that we are seeing around the country and around the world. Here with us on our show is Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also, Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. Lee Harris, Legal Counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow at 649-7964. And Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. And you can reach him at 357-0813. And my son, Greg, who does a great job on our marketing and photography and so much more. And thank you all for joining us tonight. Chuck is off this evening, so we'll fill in for his abilities and what he can bring to the table on a regular basis. That's Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. If you want to see a video of the show that we are doing, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That will redirect you to our YouTube channel for radio. LouisvilleAnswers.com. All right, let's go around the horn. We're looking for wins this past week. I know it's tougher and tougher because things are still in a midst of movement, no matter which way we go. Let us start with Randy Rocky. Wins from you.
A couple of really interesting statistics. Purchase applications are down in the nation. The United States in the last week, 1.8% from week prior. But this is what I find very interesting is they're down 35%. I thought it would be more than that from this time last year, the exact same time.
We're losing you again, Randy. It's amazing. As he's going to make a point, the whole audio just slows down.
Obviously,
say that last part again.
The refinances are up 190% from this time from last year.
Is that in your location or nationally?
No, that's nationally.
I'm
giving you national.
There you go again.
Statistics.
Whoever else is on your intercom or internet at your location, maybe it's the whole thing that's going on.
I can hear him. It might be.
Yeah, I'm good.
Bobo, it might be your side. I hear him.
Oh, maybe. Okay, good. Oh, good. All right, so let's move forward. Let's go to Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys. How we doing?
Well, pretty good. Actually, the good news is that we're very adaptive. I think everyone in the real estate industry, we were hit with this, but it's amazing at how a short period of time where we're still closing loans, buyers are still buying houses, sellers are still selling. We managed to work our way through a few challenges with technology and everyone being afraid a little bit about jobs and lowered incomes. And some of the lenders have been a little bit more cautious. So people are a little bit anxious, but we're managing to get business done and keep people safe. That's the main thing.
Moving over to Lee Harris from Limestone. How are things happening at your office these days?
Yes, I think that the win that I would say is that, we've really all come up with unique ways to deal with this. I mean, curbside closings and, we have glass dividers for people who want to come in, and we have home delivery for those who want to close at home who are, concerned about getting out. So I think it's been really actually very interesting to see how everything has changed in basically 2 months.
And we're adapting as we go.
Right.
Brad Lawler, home team inspection. You've got some really good information to give us. Positive news.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the home inspectors were going to be on the a leading indicator of what's happening in the marketplace, and certainly the agents are. But our inspection volume has increased the last 2 weeks in a row. So we seem to have hit bottom earlier than expected, and are coming out of it more quickly than I had anticipated. So yeah, we're up again pretty significantly this week. So not at normal, summer levels by any means, but better than what we had forecast.
So from our standpoint, Greg, why don't you talk about the win that you and Casey had with the sale of one of the listings, then I'll round it out because I got some really good news.
Yeah, I mean, there's some movement in the market still happening. We've got a couple of new construction projects that are getting under contract, and actually one of them has multiple bids, so there's a good sign there. But we're lucky here in Louisville. Obviously, we know that the markets are different everywhere, but inventory has always been an issue here, and the buyer pool has always been so good. I think what we're seeing now is a more qualified, ready, willing, and able buyer than ever before. Before, people were just kind of looking. Everyone knew that the summer rush was coming with inventory. They were expecting more homes to flood the market. Obviously, we're looking for homes to sell. And so, we're still seeing the market move because we had that big of a buyer pool that's not being affected. And my stuff here moving a little in the market. But again, we're lucky that we're able to perform right now. So.
Nobody else hears that his voice slowed down and sped up? Maybe it's just
no,
my end.
I can hear it.
Oh, good. All right. So maybe it's my end. If you're listening to us on the radio and you hear it slow down and then speed up, you're hearing what I heard. So a couple of things from my standpoint. We are continuing to see market conditions that are slower, granted, but we are still taking in contracts and we're putting homes on the market. This goes contrary to a number of cities around the country where they've pretty much stalled, in some cases because the governors have excluded real estate as being an essential part of business. But for example, in Detroit, they're having big problems. I was on a conference call this past week, and my buddy up in Detroit is just telling us things have come to an end because they can't even go out to show or list. So what we've come to do now, and all of you will appreciate this, is I'm spending a lot more time in my office on Zoom and doing interviews with prospective sellers. And then if the seller wants to list, we send the paperwork for the most part via the internet so they can sign it through DocuSign. It's very simple compared to what you might think to get a home listed. And then Greg goes out covered in safety gear and goes in and does his photography.
Yeah. Honestly, we're kind of lucked out being the father-son team and having the ability to keep photography in-house because we keep it so much more streamlined and we're on the same page as far as safety and we talk the same language to the client. It's not like we're outsourcing photography of some random person.
Yep.
It's another level of quality that we can offer that we're just kind of lucking into.
So, and if you hear the voices slow down or speed up, that's because the internet is overtaxed. Even this week, so many people on it. So just know that that's the problem. It's not your radio, and it's certainly not Greg. As of midweek this past week, we had 2,668 homes on the market. That's well down. And one of the big problems, as I keep telling everybody I talk to, is that we need homes to put on the market, and not just for our team and my company, it's just throughout Louisville and Southern Indiana. So some of the things we want to turn this conversation to are some of the safety precautions, things that we've done, adapted. So all of our agents, let me back up. Let me just start with a listing. So we have a listing on the market. And by the way, if you want to reach me, I didn't give my number out earlier, 376-5483. Listing on the market, buyer wants to see it. What we ask our agents throughout our area to do, first, go online, show their buyer the home through the pictures and then our 3D tours. And if you want to see an example of what the 3D tour looks like, Louisville3D.com is the website. But that gives you an idea, that gives the buyer an idea what the home looks like from ever having to leave their house and determine if they really want to see this house. Then, and only then, after they've already previewed it, then they can go see it, which minimizes the number of people who are going out and visiting homes. And then when they do visit, we ask that the buyer and buyer agent both have a variety of COVID-19 prescribed safety precautions. So that in itself has, I think, helped assure sellers that we're taking precautions and also safety for the buyers. Let's go to Randy. From your perspective, it's still business as usual. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks now. You can take a loan application online, correct?
Yes, you can. And speaking of loan applications, it's public knowledge. So Chase Bank just announced that you have to have a 700 credit score and have 20% down to do a loan with them. Well, that's the exact opposite of what our company does, which is I'm very proud of being a broker, and especially in times like this. We have so many options for our clients, and zero money down options, and it's really
but
helped
Randy,
your team a lot. And
it has. But let me just point out that the concern that many of us have in the industry is that as Chase does, it's JP Morgan Chase, I believe, right? It's not just the Chase Bank, but as they go, so may
that is correct.
so may other lenders. So are we seeing the tip of a really big iceberg where other lenders will adopt that they won't loan unless the buyer has a 20% down payment and a 700 plus credit score?
Well, and I touched on this about a month ago, is that we're going to be fine, and I believe it now more than ever. So no, I just think that is a bank's approach. Some banks, certain banks and certain lenders are taking that approach right now, and the ones that are, then we just don't broker with them. And so that we have plenty of people wanting our business right now, wanting your business. The people that are listening to us. So I just don't think it is a tip of the iceberg.
Good. All right. I'm glad to hear that. I think that gives us all confidence that we're not going to be facing stopping of loans. Because let's face it, I think 80% of people who are buying homes, what the number I heard, 80% do not have 20% down, at least 80%. And many don't have a 700 or more credit score. So that was a concern for all of us. Let me go over to Brad. You and I had discussed something we were going to bring up on the show. It was a win. Before we get to that, I was negotiating a deal this past week. The buyer agent, I represented the seller. The buyer agent put in the contract a 14-day time period for inspections. And I countered back after discussing this with my seller at a 10-day. The reason I thought the buyer's agent may have gone to 14 days is because that there's such an influx of potential inspections that people are backed up, inspectors. Do you think that's the case, or are you able to handle them and other inspectors? I know you don't know what the other guys are doing or ladies are doing.
Well, I think that there's still a lot of inspector capacity out there. I mean, my company, Home Team, we're getting to all of our inspections within 48 hours still. But granted, my staff is significantly larger than most of the inspection companies out there. But I think that a lot of the solo inspectors out there in particular, they've probably been hit pretty hard. So they seem to be, pretty available. I have not heard anybody say that they couldn't get an inspector. In fact, we still have some inspectors that are putting themselves into a unique situation right now where they are doing face-to-face, walkthroughs with buyers. We still believe that that's a bad idea because there's really no way to, keep that physical distancing that we need if we're all hovered over a laptop. That's why Home Team has moved everything to a virtual platform, which I think most of the inspection companies have. But there's still some that are out. We'll do the walkthrough at the house.
Got it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to reset. and I want to look towards the future. Now, we're not out of the woods by any means yet, but I want to look towards the future. What have we learned from having this pandemic that we will carry with us into the future? In other words, how will life change for not only real estate, but the rest of our day-to-day existence? That we will check when we come back. A reminder here with us, coming to us from their homes and their own internet connections, which may or may not be good. We've got Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title, 649-7964. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 357-0813. Kevin Nisler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. Chuck Crosby from the Crosby Law Offices is off tonight or this morning, 499-6360. And Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also, my son Greg, who does our marketing and photography and so much more. If you want to see what people are saying about us, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com or LouisvilleZillow.com. And if you want to reach me, Bob Sokoler, 376-5483. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. We are back, and welcome back to the Louisville Real Estate Show. Here with us, coming from their homes on a Zoom recording that you can also see, by the way, if you want to go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That'll take you to YouTube, and you can see what this looks like when we're doing this. We've got Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Kevin Disler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. Lee Harris, legal counsel, 649-7964. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 357-0813. And Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. And also my son, Greg, who does all our photography and marketing and so much more. All right, guys. So before the break, I suggested we talk about the future of what we're going to see post this pandemic. For examples, I've been hearing reports that when we do reopen, maybe in restaurants, we're going to be separated by a required distance. Waiters, waitresses will be wearing gloves, masks. We may have to extend our eating time. So let's say normally dinner would be between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So maybe dinner starts earlier and lasts later by reservation so that we can string out more people over a period of time and we're not sitting so close to each other. Just a thought in terms of the restaurant world. But what about real estate? What do we see that's happening good now that we can carry forward that can help in the future? Let's go to Kevin Disler first. From your standpoint, your thoughts.
Well, I was just actually going back and forth with some emails with my local councilman. Shout out to Stuart Benson. There are certain areas of our community that do not have high-speed internet access, which was deemed to be a luxury at one point in time, but now it's a utility. So as everyone works from home and gets used to working from home, if you have a property that you're trying to market and you do not have high-speed internet access, I'm assuming that's going to be more of a market and a more difficult property to sell than it was beforehand.
Interesting.
And so yeah, and there are a lot of pockets and a lot of areas of Jefferson County that do not have high-speed internet access. And if your children go to school, you work from home, that house may be a difficult choice for you.
You know, let me tell you the fix for that. You're breaking up again as you talk about internet. Elon Musk and his SpaceX company is in the process of putting up and in every say again? Did I lose you? 61 satellites at a time. He's crisscrossing the United States, and when he throws the switch, it will bring internet service at a fairly high speed to everyone around the world. This is a brilliant strategy by him and may be important for us if we have to go through this type of a pandemic again or have to work from home. Let's go to Lee Harris. Your thoughts. What are you thinking that we're going to take forward from what we're doing now?
What I really, and we can all reconvene 5 years from now and see if I'm right, but I really think that the main thing that is going to happen from everybody working from home and internet access becoming greater and all of that is that I think a lot of people are going to realize that you don't necessarily have to meet in person or go to an office for every single thing that we're currently doing, such as closings. I mean, I think this is really going to push the, e-closings further along than it was being pushed. And I think maybe a lot of people will do more teleworking. My husband calls it teleworking. Some people call it telecommuting. I just think that, it's probably going to be more of a wave of the future. And that might be a good thing. That might be saving on energy, and time in the car where you can be more productive. So that's my prediction.
That's
is that people are going to realize they can work from home or, close from home.
Close from home or work from home. Randy, Rocky, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Where do you think we're going with what we've got now going to take forward once we're back rolling? What we've got now. Randy, are you there? I think Randy froze.
Servicers that are. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Now we can. Yeah,
hear.
go ahead. Okay.
I think it's you, Bob. I really do.
Maybe.
I'm the only one that I'm hearing any
Okay.
problems with.
Okay.
So I think that there are going to be servicers that either the government's going to back it or what have you. That are if people don't make their payment, they're still having to make payments each month to Fannie and Freddie, and it's breaking some of these servicers and these lenders. So I think what's going to come out of this is they're going to protect them, which is good for all of us.
I mean, the government's
really
going to protect.
Yes, they're going to
lenders.
have to. They're going to have to, or it's going. Rates are going to shoot up, and I think that they're going to put something together to make people feel more comfortable about that scenario, because that is a real problem right now with all the forbearance and all that.
Yeah, forbearance.
It's a real mess.
So that's not where they waive your payment. They just put it on the back end of your mortgage.
They put
And
it
in
on the
some-
back end. This whole
In some
forbearance
cases,
thing.
not even on the back end, right?
No, you're right, Greg. And sometimes you might have to make it up on payment 4. And it's a real problem right now. If you can't make your payment, please do. If you can't, I understand. You do have to
think
have
about
that.
think about trying to make 3 payments when you can't make one at the end of this 3 months, and you have to pay 4
doesn't-
months of
It doesn't make sense.
and,
there has to
and
be-
stimulus checks are just now rolling out.
There has to be
so-
some relief for the people who aren't able to make
Yes,
payments.
that's right. So I think that
Yeah.
they're going to have some things in place for what Greg just discussed and what we just talked about, which is a good thing, and say, okay, here's the safety precautions we'll be able to take if a pandemic like this ever happens again.
Got
Is
it.
there one thing we learned from 2008 was kicking people out of their homes is probably not a real good idea.
Right. I
Oh,
think
it's
we all agree.
terrible.
Yeah,
It's
it's terrible.
Well, it's worse than that. I mean, let's face it, that's disgusting in itself. But then the bank has to go in. They have to rehab in some cases, or more important, keep it up. And that's where values plummet for a house. So let us hope that the banks have learned a very valuable
That's
lesson
right.
of not to
Exactly.
remove people. Let's go to Brad Lawler, Home Team. What have you learned from this and are taking away from this?
I think that agents will have a little better work-life balance because of some of the virtual tools that are coming out. I mean, I don't think home inspection's ever going to move to a virtual platform. We're not going to be able to do a video walkthrough to inspect the home. We'll always have to be there. But I think that agents will now potentially do less driving, spend a little bit more time with the family, where they can just join for the walkthrough and inspection reports virtually versus driving to a house to actually walk through it. So I think they'll be a little more productive. I think that the tools that inspectors use will probably get better and better, particularly as reporting software improves. So I think that they'll become more videos will be part of the inspections. I think you'll see technology changing there, but I think generally speaking, people have a better idea of what the conditions of the home are without necessarily being right there, looking in every nook and cranny. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be better for all of us.
I think what I personally think for home inspections, folks, is that home inspectors should carry or wear a GoPro camera, either a body or on their head, and describe what they're seeing as they're going through the inspection of each home. Then upload that video so the home buyer can see a more detailed description of the good and the bad. Just a thought, planting it
Yeah.
now. If
Uh,
you
right.
want to adopt it, we can help you with it.
Well, I think the challenge there is the amount of time that it takes to sit and watch a video. So if you're in a house for 2 or 3 hours, that's a lot of video to watch. I think that's
Yep.
the biggest challenge for everybody.
Okay. All right. I grant you. I agree with that to some level. Let me talk about what's going on on our end in real estate. So Matterport, which is the company that makes these 3D cameras that we use, these cameras are in big demand because the virtual tours have taken over for sellers to be able to show their home. Greg, describe what Matterport camera looks like. We've got 2 of them.
It's yeah, I've got one in every. It's a big old box rectangle that spins around in a circle, and it takes 360-degree picture with 9 different cameras on it, and it compiles it into a floor plan, a 3D dollhouse through their Matterport's the company, and they do magic, and then we repost videos, tours on our MLS system. Zillow's doing virtual tours now, and everyone's trying to kind of get in alignment with that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've been doing it, but like everyone's saying, I think it's going to be a force where people are going to do it more, and it'll just become the norm. And because this is not going anywhere anytime soon. We've got a major shift. Not to get off topic of Matterport, but commercial market. No one's talking about the collapse that's going to happen there. Banks aren't lending there. You can see where it's going because people are working from home. I think we're going to see we're just at the iceberg of seeing some major changes that we won't even be able to predict in the next 2 weeks of the lasting effects of what we'll see. So that's
I happen to agree with that. And it's funny, we're all talking about working from home more, and what's going to happen to these office buildings where people would normally go and congregate, and what happens to the water cooler and all the different things that would go into having an office. It's all going to change. From my perspective, I've been using Zoom so much now, and I've used it in the past, years in the past, but now it's every day, multiple Zoom. Even though they've had some security issues, they've tightened those security up. At least that's what they've told us. But I see so much value. And those of you who said where you're able to sit in front of the computer and get the same thing done, I've got sellers who walk me through their house, and we can describe what needs to be done to get ready to go on the market. We have buyers who want to see that home, and we can walk them through. So all of this, it really comes down to a shift that no one ever predicted or would want because of what we're all
and
going.
There's going to be a lot of legal stuff because just like you said, we had one of our contracts that was written on one of our listings was a buyer from California who saw a Facebook Live walkthrough essentially, then found the information and wrote the offer, but was putting in contingencies of them being able to come out and see it. So it starts to create new issues and new legalities, sight unseen issues, and so there's a lot of that coming too.
Everybody's looking for a force majeure clause in their contracts. Everybody, commercial, it's just an act of God, quote unquote, that you can get out of obligation.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
I don't know if it's my ADD.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. You make one.
I don't know if it's my ADD or what, but there's no way I could work from home.
You know where you can work from home. I heard that.
I would not get anything done.
Well, and I love going to an office, and it just gets me going. So, all right, we're out of time. Our thanks to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Lee Harris, Limestone Title, 649-7964. Chuck Crosby, who wasn't here, but we always love him and appreciate him, at 499-6360. I think these 3 are the best closing attorneys in the city and do a great job. Also, Brad Lawler. Did I get you, Kevin? I don't know if I mentioned you. Kevin Dissler.
I think you missed me.
I'm sorry. I'm back at you there. Kevin is included in this group. Kevin Dissler, Pitt and Frank Attorneys, 895-9900. And then Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 357-0813.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too. And my son, Greg, thank you. I'm proud of you, buddy, and you take care of yourself. And you can reach me anytime on my cell phone, day or night, 376-5483. Folks, these are challenging times. We've got to stay together, but stay apart until we're given the okay. We wish you the very best. We'll hopefully see you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS. Okay, so that ends our radio show. And for those of you who tuned in, here's a little after the show chit chat.
Chat.
Anybody want to chit chat? Want to go forward with anything?
Man, all I know is everything that I'm reading and seeing is this is a long haul. This is just the very start of it. And no one wants to really face it, but like,
Yeah.
Man.
I think the financial, we got through the peak of the health problems. The financial problems are still 30 days away.
The financial ramifications are more scary, and the shifting technology and the different industries that are going to shutter and change on a dime. They're not even going to be phased. It's going to be, how do you either infuse with cash to get these companies back up and get these commercial spaces refilled? But obviously the money's coming slow. We know we've talked about before on the behind the scenes, the SBA loan issues and how they're running out quickly and the money's not going to the people that need it. Where's the money going? I'm sure we'll find that out years down the road. But yeah, I mean, listen.
If you own retail commercial space and you have a restaurant that's got 12 locations, it's going to come back out of this with 3 with delivery.
Yeah.
I do worry about the commercial space. I think that's going to be a lot of changes there.
Yeah, I think good.
We found out we can probably use about half of the square footage that we have now. So, if you're a big box and you're looking for a market, people approve through this that you can get by with a lot less than you used to.
Are you leasing over at your locations, or do you own?
Yeah,
you lease.
We're at NTS. We're leasing, and that's pretty expensive property.
Yeah,
but you can figure out that half the people we have could probably work from home or from a much lower cost facility than that.
Yeah.
So if you're NTS, or if you own a mortgage on the NTS buildings over there, I think a lot of people are not going to be paying you fairly soon.
And Lee, what about with your end of it? Are you leasing over at where Limestone is?
Yes. We do. Yeah.
So that's a lease. And then Randy, you're leasing over where you are with Swan.
Yes.
Right? And then Brad, how about you?
Well, we work remote, and then I've got a leased office, a rented office space. So, but we're primarily remote.
So already. I'm the only one in the group who owns 2 condos where our office is on.
Can we write those assets off right now, completely depreciated? I mean, because I don't, can we get our CPA on the phone? Because I don't know.
Your CPA is your best friend now.
Yeah, I think I don't know that it's all that doom and gloom. I mean, there's no way for us to really know. What
I can't work from home. It would be impossible.
See, and I'm the same way.
I mean, there's no way.
I'm not necessarily talking about office buildings and things like that, but the real places where people are in a crowd, the big box stores, the restaurants, the strip malls.
I agree with that.
The malls in general. I mean, think about in Louisville, Kentucky, we have 2 competing malls. One, which was the higher class, which was on edge because of the Topgolf thing not coming through. Like, what are the ramifications? Like, this is not. We're not saying doom and gloom, but this is going to happen.
If you're a UK or U of L fan, or if you own bonds on the Yum Center, are you going to put 22,000 people on the Yum Center? Or are you going to have high definition cameras and a subscription to somebody with an app? I don't think the Yum Center is going to ever see close to capacity again. But what do you do from a financial standpoint?
Not in at least 2 years or whatever they're saying with the vaccine, and then you got to implement. So unless this thing goes away tomorrow, like magic.
Yeah. Vaccines for viruses don't have a very good track record. So then it's a question, if you're over 50, if you're my dad, who thank God
which I'm not, by the way.
Well, good for you.
Well, you're going to get released out into the wild. I get stuck. But, that's probably what they're going to roll out. My dad is 84. He's sitting at home, and I'm delivering him liquor through Liquor Barn. And he's going on to 5 weeks.
You don't have to do that. They deliver.
Well, that's what I say. I have a guy that delivers them 2 bottles every week because I'm a good son.
Wait, Kevin, here's the question for you. Has his liquor consumption gone up as we've gone deeper?
By a factor of 2.
Really? He's doubled his liquor.
My sisters claim I'm enabling, but if you're 84 years old, you've been watching your John Wayne DVD collection for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm really worried. Yeah, good, Lee.
I wonder how they're delivering liquor to homes, because I'm thinking like a lot of teenagers are probably on there ordering.
I'm sure you got a show ID at the door.
I'm kind of I'm concerned about the bandwidth activity and whether there's enough to go around that if we,
So
yeah,
quick nerd session. I used to work for I worked for the big four carriers besides T-Mobile. The way everybody's individual neighborhood works is if you're not on fiber optics, you're on a copper node. Every neighborhood has its own node that the whole neighborhood shares bandwidth off of. So it used to be when you just came home, you would notice around dinner time and in the mornings before people went to work, your internet would be slower if you noticed, and when you were on off-peak times, rather. And I think we may have talked about this before. Fiber optics is basically every individual home has its own individual node because the bandwidth of the fiber cable allows you to run. And I'm sure there are bandwidth capacity traffic flows, but if you have fiber optics, you're probably going to be in a better case. If you have the opportunity to get it, I would recommend looking into it. Because it will give you much better speeds. And also you have to wireless router issues, get a tech guy. But if you need anything,
that's the problem I was mentioning at the first is that, remember when they came in with a franchise for cable and they were going to have competition, they're going to run it throughout Jefferson County?
Yeah, Google.
30 years later.
Yeah, well, Google Fiber messed up.
Google came in. Google was working. Why did they pull out?
Google left because they used a system called shallow trenching. They thought they were going to save money, and they were digging shallow trenches and all the backfill. And they were doing this all over the country. So when it went belly up, and they realized that all of their cables were resurfacing, and the way they buried them was not correct. Their whole thing had to be completely scrapped. There would have to be billions of dollars reported into the system, and they just said it's not worth it. They just left.
No.
Now, I know Verizon's upping their with 5G. They're upping their towers. There's a big fight going on amongst residents in some areas. I know personally, not mine, but
it's causing the coronavirus, the 5G.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Right.
Oh man. There's a really good video of this guy showing how frequency is measured, and he's a tower utility worker, and he's like, it doesn't affect you. You have to be standing literally right in front of the actual, on the top of the tower, in front of the thing. He had his little reader, and he's standing right next to it. It wasn't going off, and then he puts it over. He's like, listen, you have to be a direct line for this to even affect. It's just.
And
okay.
but it can still cause you a virus. I mean, like, even if you're right next to it.
Those people are saying it's a bioweapon and it's activated by the 5G towers. Is the conspiracy theory? It's wild stuff. It's wild.
I could just see.
To drink a lot of whiskey.
Lee goes to work tomorrow. 5G's causing the virus. Oh, that's all we need. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you had some fun if you were watching us on the YouTube channel. We will see. We'll plan on doing this again next Wednesday at this point. Unless things change, we'll go from there. All right, gang. Take care.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yep.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.